Hello and thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakum. Today on the program, Senate approves direct primary for political parties as PDP senators kick against the idea. And later on the show, bandits demand 50 million naira ransom to release of abducted students of Catholic seminary in Kaduna as 90 kidnapped students and staff of Federal Government College Beni Yari reportedly freed after 4 months in captivity. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. 2 landmark decisions on the floor of the Senate have rekindled hope of Nigerians in credible future elections, while reviewing its earlier decision on some clauses in the Electoral Amendment Bill that was passed in July. The Senate approved direct primary for the nomination of candidates for elections by political parties. But some senators from the Opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, kicked against the idea, saying it is anti-democratic and against the wishes of Nigerians. Let's share how it transpired on the floor of the Senate with you.
Senators and the public, especially electoral reforms advocates, clashed on issues that had to do with the amended Electoral Act bill. But now lawmakers are back to the drawing board as they begin the harmonization of this critical piece of legislation. It was not an entirely lovey-dovey deliberation, as tempers soon flared. Some senators were unhappy about the decision of the upper legislative house to adopt the position of the House of Representatives on Section 87, which deals with the conduct of political party primary election.
We all agree that some of us have problems with our governors, but that should not tie the party to only one choice. We must give the party opportunity to practice democracy. Democracy is all about choices. If we tie the hands of the political parties to only direct primaries, it means we are not giving the parties the opportunity to practice democracy.
I really believe that if this our democracy will be strengthened, if this our democracy will grow, and if we are going to be able to take it to anything close to global best practice standards, it is time for us to adopt direct mode primaries.
Okay. Asking them to come and vote will require a lot of enlightenment rather than having the indirect that would limit the numbers of those who will participate in primary elections. So I hold the view, Mr. President, that it is more cheaper, less cumbersome to have indirect primary elections.
The upper chamber finally resolved that political parties seeking to nominate candidates for elections shall hold direct primaries for aspirants to all elective positions, which will be monitored by INEC. The Senate insists this will strengthen the internal democracy among political parties.
A bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act and enact the Electoral Act 2021 and for other matters connected there with 2021, third reading taken and the bill is passed.
The Senate also expunged the controversial amended Clause 52 subsection 3 of the Electoral Bill, which subjected transmission of election results by the Independent National Electoral Commission to the approval of the Nigerian Communications Commission. TJ Swadio, TVC News, Abuja.
Babajide, looking beyond the desirability for this electoral amendment bill, I can see a lot of heavy politicking. It's yes. When Nigerians, when they are home now, yeah, direct primaries. Do you understand? Electronic voting. I mean, transmission of election results. But what is happening behind is very, very interesting and intriguing.
You see, you got to ask yourself why the PDP members in the National Assembly were against the idea of having direct primaries. The reason is the trigger for this move were the events that took place in the course of the World Congresses of the APC. Many of these lawmakers were disenfranchised at their respective states. Their supporters were chased away, they were not allowed to vote. Some of their supporters were beaten up by the almighty governors who did everything to make themselves stronger while weakening people in the National Assembly. If the National Assembly had not come up with this idea, it is those people who emerged at those congresses that will be the delegates who will determine who wins what as we go further in the whole in the building of party structures, you know, within the APC. So a lot of them were already, they were left red-faced by what transpired. They had suddenly become at the mercy of their governors. Some of them had become literally political exiles in Abuja. People who were becoming more and more irrelevant in the politics of their own states. This is what happens every time we approach an election year. You see that the rate of turnover of federal lawmakers is extremely high. I don't know any country in the world where it is as high as we have in Nigeria, because governors will begin to build new boys, loyalists, new corps of loyalists, and simply brush these ones aside. Governors who see themselves as God with the small letter G want to determine who gets what. Everything, assembly. If you are not friendly with your governor, or your governor had some rumors about you that, oh, Ayo is eyeing my job. Ayo is not lawyer. Ayo said something about me about his wife at a giddy parlor after I was drunk, and those things suggest that he could work against me. You then see the governor start moving against you without asking you, without asking you that, look, I heard that you said so things at a drinking den. What happened? Gradually, you find that they will be grooming someone else for your constituency. Position. At the end of the day, you then have governors even thumping their chest that they retired some people, that they turned some people to bloggers, this and that. This is the situation. Yes, this is what we are facing. Now, lawmakers have their own powers. They have powers that they are reluctant to use in many cases. Because, oh, they don't want to offend the president, they don't want to offend their governor, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. We now see that when those governors, when those lawmakers are pushed to the wall, they can at least use some of those powers. This is what we are seeing. Now, the interesting thing is that all of these people, these governors today, who are harassing people in the National Assembly, who want to make sure that those in the National Assembly don't return, unfortunately for them, in their greed to perpetuate themselves within the political firmament, they find a way to go to the Senate. Most of them, where they too are then subject to harassment. You know, by the new kid. So their own Damascus experience always comes after they've been in the National Assembly for some time, you see governors who are against autonomy for this, autonomy for that. They are the ones who will now come out and say, no, autonomy is good. But when you were governor, you were imagining that you'll be there forever. You didn't think that this was right. So I don't blame these guys if they were disenfranchised. If I were in their shoes, and I went to my constituency, I was not allowed to do. I was disenfranchised. In the winner takes all arrangement that dominates our politics, then why won't I go for this idea? I've seen headlines saying that they have recommended. No, they are not recommending. That's not good journalism. They
proposed it.
They have come up with a bill. They have mandated it. It is, except the president refuses to give his assent. The award is law. It is not. They have not suggested. They have not suggested.
And they can even veto Mr. President if Mr. President does not sign it.
If they want.
Yes.
If they want.
Yes.
But you know, they did it to Obasanjo once. But I don't think these ones will do it. No, these ones will not do it. Now, the point I'm making, that I want to make quickly is, they are not suggesting to anybody. They have come up
with a law.
Yes, this is proposed law. Except it's the president that needs to give his assent, and then it becomes law. If the president does not give his assent, then we are back to square one.
Emeka, let's check the system we used to have before. Now, we've had primary election that is just like something like an arrangement. Now, when you have a primary election and the incumbent governor has what we call super delegates, the commissioners, do you understand? The ward chairman, the special advisors, is it super delegates? Yeah, I think they call them super or statutory. Yes.
Statutory delegates.
Yes, statutory delegates. So, before you know it, the governor has like 45% of the entire delegate. And they are all singing with the same voice, and they enter a place, money might have exchanged hands, and before you know it, somebody will be defeated overwhelmingly. Now, the other side of this now is that card-carrying members of the party on the streets, that's what this proposal is saying, will be the one to decide your fate.
Yeah, well, I think it is a welcome development if truly the members, registered members of the party, of the parties are allowed to, produce candidates. But this is Nigeria where interesting things happen in politics. If you remember the case of Muritala Yako, when a call from Aso Rock just put pay to the ambitions of other candidates, and the party executives were just told to forward his name to INEC without any clear primaries. People were at the stadium waiting. If you remember also, it happened in Delta State in 2019. At the time he talked about that. But they didn't even know where the primaries held. So you see,
even know the delegates.
The delegates. So
I wanted to discuss that one.
Say direct primaries. Okay, fine. How are you sure that cards will not be produced overnight? Membership list produced overnight. Okay. And then suddenly you get to the venue, and a desperate governor, has arranged, marshaled enough voters, enough members, with a list drawn up overnight.
You are teaching them new tricks.
But where are the ones? But the case of Muritala Yako is very instructive.
Okay.
It's very instructive. I mean, people were at the stadium in Yola waiting for the primaries to begin, only for them to get a call from presidential villa that, listen, just submit this person's name to INEC, and the primaries are over. So how worse can it get?
Well, there have been some amendments now to the law that will make such things difficult.
Yes, but you see,
before we go to our guests, we've experienced some very strange things with these indirect primaries. Sometimes a candidate will just start to bundle delegates out of the states.
You go and hide them somewhere. You go and
remove their phone.
You go and hide them, take their phones, so that other people cannot. He would have given them money, but he doesn't want other people to have access to them, so that they don't take money from two different candidates. So once he has bought their conscience, he wants to keep them until the whole exercise is over.
Stop communication.
They will be incommunicable. Then they will bring a luxury bus that will now carry them and take them straight to the venue of the election. It happened in Ekiti now, the primary election for the governorship. It happened in Ekiti, you know. And it's not Ekiti alone. Before they start getting angry that why is he mentioning us? It happens, you know, this is the way it is.
They will not allow.
You are not going to give people money and watch them go and make money off other candidates. You want to quarantine them somewhere.
Yes.
Since you are paid for their conscience. And then take them straight to the event. Even President Buhari's, these presidential primaries of the APC.
2015.
It happened.
Yes.
It happened. We still remember, you know. So some of the, you remember somebody was complaining that they had no access to.
That they had the money. The money,
but they couldn't spray it. They couldn't spray it on those people because they had been quarantined by the people who reached to them first. So that is the thing. All these people, the truth is, you know, they first tried this thing. APC first tried this direct in Osun State. You know, and they saw that it worked.
Yes.
And then they tried it again in Lagos. They tried it again in Lagos, and I think that Governor Ganduje too. Also tried it in
we have the spokesman of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, joins us via Zoom for more on this discussion. Thank you for joining us, distinguished Senator.
Good evening, eminent journalists. I'm happy to join you at this very important hangout.
Yes, we are happy to hang out with you as well.
Representing Central, I think Oshogo.
Yes, Osun Central.
I remember Osun Central. I remember your direct primaries. You started it.
You people are the forerunners of the direct primary arrangement.
I was there with him that day.
So what? We want you to tell us how how the Senate came to this decision. It came to a lot of us who are far away from you people as a surprise.
Actually, what happened was that at the time the bill was initially passed, Section 87 was left untouched by the Senate. But when the review committee was set up and we were preparing for the concurrence meeting with the colleague at the House of Rep, we isolated areas where there are disparities in what was passed at the Senate and what was passed at the Rep. About 5 highlighted areas were considered to be gray areas. One, the inclusion of other electronic device in Section 43, the issue of transmission results and role of NCC in Section 52, subsection 3, the provision on transmission of results in Section 63, then the issue of primary in Section 87. Specifically on the issue of the primary, the position of the House of Representatives is to adopt direct primary, which may be supervised or monitored by INEC. So in our review committee with our committee on INEC, we discovered that when we want to go to the conference, we need to firm up the understanding that if we are agreeable to direct primary, we should not leave it without certain safeguards. So what happened at the plenary yesterday was not just adoption of the direct primary, which had been adopted by the House of Representatives, but also to provide certain safeguards to ensure transparency and integrity of the process. I followed some of the fears that are expressed by some of the contributors at this program on the issue of possible manipulation and certain antecedents that had occurred in the past. So the new provision of Section 87 not only provide for the direct primary, but made certain safeguards which we believe, if followed, will strengthen direct primary as a means of ensuring internal democracy in emergence of candidates. And what are these provisions? One, it is compulsory that INEC must monitor the direct primary. So the word shall was used in subsection 1 of section 87, unlike may that was used in the extant law and the fashion passed by our colleague in the House of Representatives. Secondly, there is also a provision imposing a duty on INEC to ensure monitoring and presence in all the centers where the direct primary is to be held. Also, in order to avoid a change of rules overnight, mandatory, all political parties must submit the guideline with at least 14 days before the date of the primary. Also, every clear aspirant is entitled to within 14 days or not more than 14 days to the copy of the guideline to be used for the primary. Also, every cleared aspirant should be given opportunity for registered members of the party to vote for him. And to safeguard this, we especially provide that the guidelines are to be made by the party, which we left to their discretion, must include that register of members must be used for purpose of attestation of member. And of course, any aggrieved member is allowed to challenge compliance with the provisional law or deadline in the federal, High Court. We believe with this may safeguard some of the untoward experiences and sharp practices, some of them highlighted earlier on by some commentators in this program, will also be addressed. I think that is our take on the issue of direct primary. And of course, on such kind of matter, you cannot but have divergent opinion and views and fear expressed. One of the issues, definitely, is the issue of logistics, of being able to do so. But a response to this is that for every process that will be transparent, there will be need for logistic requirements, and the National Assembly is willing and ready to use the power of appropriation to support the realization of the goal of direct primary and the additional logistic challenge that are placed on the door of INEC. For political parties, some of the issues that have been raised in support against direct primary by some political observers on political party showed, with respect, lack of seriousness of having a genuine political party. I'm a legal practitioner. We have roles of legal practitioners, barbers associations, hairdressers, market women. They have their own register. So why will a political party be complaining that it will be hard to have a register of its member for the purpose of organizing somebody that will be the flag bearer of his own political party?
Senator
Bashir. And as regard logistic, yes.
Now, why did your colleagues, in this same bill, why did they go against it from the People's Democratic Party? Why was it easy for the APC to use their majority to pass it?
Well, Ozumbaku, it's not true. At the plenary yesterday, and I say it with all responsibility, the decision primarily cut across party lines. In fact, one of our colleagues, who is a member of the Ammunition Committee from the PDP, is a strong.
Wow.
No, back.
Senate spokesman Ajibola Bashiru will try and just connect him because what he said now, the reality is, look, just setting it now. That means if we are to do primaries for 8 political parties for House of Representatives, that means INEC is going to supervise all. They are going to, in terms of logistics, ballot papers, anything they want to do, party register.
It imposes
apart from the main election,
serious logistic and personnel challenge.
Yes,
for the INEC.
Do they have the wherewithal?
They have by this bill.
INEC might be overstretched.
Made life more unbearable for INEC. I agree absolutely that we need this direct primaries thing. Anything that ensures greater participation, that is more participatory,
yes, that people,
I am for it.
It will people oriented.
Because clearly it's so, you cannot have a situation in which some delegates that even other candidates have no access to get to decide who becomes governor. Other people would not be happy. But this one, at least every card-carrying member of the party can take part in it. It's far more participatory, and you, in fact, to bribe all of the delegates, I mean all of the
it got so bad. The
members, is not easy.
3,000 delegates. It got so bad at the point in time. Some people they can accommodate 3,000 delegates, and they will give them $10,000.
Yes.
It got so bad. The delegate game was a very big game.
One person will give 8,000, the other person will give 10,000. At the end of the day, the person who gave 10,000 will triumph. So it's
democracy, that.
Look at what happened during the PDP Port Harcourt, the presidential primaries. As they are landing, Atiku's group were far more organized. They are positioned their agents at the airport. As you are landing, they are talking to you. Oh, you are a delegate. You are here for this. They will tell you there is an hotel that they have already.
They brought the Burundi church people down to the.
They will tell you there is an hotel that they have already.
They brought them from the adjoining states.
Already kept for you people. So they are giving you that guarantee of accommodation, and at the end of the day, you also get to take some colors. You know, in the process. So this is the
very
thing.
lucrative.
They are coming. You see, organized, but you also need to be organized. That's why somebody when position people. You are sense once they sense that this is a delegate. This person looks new. They will talk to you politely. Are you here for the PDP presidential
convention?
Yes, primaries. You say yes. Okay. So we are working for. We've kept
everything
accommodation somewhere for you. They will take you there. At the end of the day, they start talking to you, and then you get your money, and some people will now be surprised that somebody won. This is the way it is.
They call it the two.
You know, it's about outflanking, you know,
strategy,
both in the game of spending money and the rest. So that's what we see.
Okay, Ernest is calling us from Benin in Edo State. Hello, Ernest.
I hope I'm on to journalist Hangout.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. I want to thank you for your program. It's very educative and enlightening.
Thank you, Ernest.
It's good. What has just happened is good for them. It now means that the people own the party. It is not where one man will sit down and dictate what will happen.
Yes.
So it's very good for us. But I just have one or two observations.
Go ahead.
The content of this program. I would advise that the anchor man should allow the people that are making contributions on the floor to make their contributions, so that if that's the trajectory that it normally makes into it, perhaps it makes them look their train of thought, and we the followers are not able to follow. So please, I would advise that the anchor man should allow the interviewers to air their views freely, so that if you have any questions, you can.
Thank you.
At least
we'll get better.
That's feedback.
We'll go back to Senator Ajibola Bashir, the Senate spokesman. Nigerians are curious in terms of this logistics, in terms of the burden you are going to be placing.
Personnel challenge for
on the Independent National Electoral Commission. Already, people are calling for the unbundling of INEC, but look at what you've now given to them again.
You see, the answer to that simply, as I said, the INEC presently has an obligation to monitor, but the obligation is not mandatory. And also, at times, we try to magnify the challenges beyond the realistic sense. Somebody, for instance, raised that there were so many political parties. How would INEC be able to cope with direct primary in that regard? But I know, and I know gentlemen there also know, that in real sense of it, there are two political parties in Nigeria, the APC and the PDP.
No.
The other political parties, with respect to them,
how about ABDA?
We have AFGA, we have YPP,
we have SDP.
There's a YPP senator.
Why out of 109 senator?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's representing a constituency.
You have SDP, House of Rep.
It will also introduce, seriousness of people who really want change to form coalition to be able to have a stronger political party. I'm a believer in multi-party democracy, but you can only have multi-party democracy in the sense of strong a party, not what I call NI party, not a single individual political party. So the challenge now is that in reality, if a political party does not have members beyond Abuja, they will direct primary in Abuja. But if a party like our own party that has structure in all polling units, we have polling unit ESCO, we have ability to deploy resources to be able to do so. So we cannot be making case for weak organization. In fact, one of the issues that was raised by Senator Eke Kremadu was possibility of having a staggered primary for presidential election. And we said that could be a matter for the guideline of each political party. Just like it's done in the United States of America, you could do a staggered primary, but give notification to INEC as to the date you want to do the primary. Let the guideline be available to the aspirants 14 days before the primary. So there's nothing stopping staggered primary if your guidelines so provide. So what we have done in the law is to give the discretion as to the mode of the direct primary, the guideline. The only stipulation that is mandatory is that you must use the register of your member for the purpose of accreditation. We don't want what happened where somebody overnight will just go and muster all manner of people to come out at the primary. So then in terms of INEC, I know that INEC maintain offices in all local governments. They have electoral officers, they have assistant electoral officers, and they also have within their framework to put ad hoc staff to hold the election. And mind you, in the new Electoral Act, the provision is that primary will be concluded at least 180 days before the date of the election, so that the question of pre-election challenges would have even been resolved. So there's ample time to conduct the primary, ample time to challenge the primary before the election. So this has to be looked in that context. In any event, anywhere in the world, democracy is not cheap, it is tedious, and it is very rigorous if it is going to really meet the challenge emanating from the will of the people.
Senator, you people have done well with some of the bills that are coming through during this dispensation. But there are people who are saying that it was easy for the APC caucus and the Senate to achieve some unanimity on this matter because a good number of them had been disenfranchised at the level of the world congresses and all of that, and that the usual problem of so many federal lawmakers now returning to the House, that this could be the silver bullet that addresses that. What do you have to say to this?
Jide, with respect to, I don't think anything in politics that has to do with law serves as a silver bullet or anything. First and foremost, I must say that I don't have problem with my governor, and I don't have problem with my political establishment in my states. In fact, my leaders in my states, including Bababisi Akande and the governor, are already convert direct primary mode even before this occur. You will recollect, and I know Ozungaku was also in Osun when we did primary in 2018, and also my own primary in 2019. We adopted direct primary, and that was also replicated in Lagos. So as far as I am concerned, I don't, there's nothing personal about it, and I will say that I'm one of the advocates of direct primary, and of course with support of my leaders in my state. Then as to other legislators, and I will tell you, irrespective of whatever mode of primary you put in place, anybody that is a politician that decountenance the role and importance of governors and leaders of the party in any processes does so at its own peril. So there is nothing like silver bullet, but what will require is that we need to see a synergy between governments that meaningful development can even occur, to the state. So I will enjoy our colleagues who may have that challenge with their government, find a way to make peace with the leadership of the party, to make peace with the members and the party structure. As for us, in the state where I come from, state of Osun, we don't have problem with direct or indirect primary. We don't. We have a structured leadership that take decision as to what will be and will not be in the context of what we call democratic centralism that is operative in our structure here. So there's nothing personal for me about it. But as far as we are concerned, we practice direct primary and members of the party are very enthusiastic about it.
One more question for you.
Yes, during the APC primary, governorship primaries in Anambra State, INEC, after the primary, INEC wrote a report saying that its officials waited at different points and there were no primaries till they left. Now you are talking about primaries holding 180 days, but does it mean that there is no time limit within the day for primaries to hold, to the extent that INEC wrote a very serious report, a damning report, that there are no primaries, but by the next day we saw figures and somebody was declared as the party's president, as the party's governorship candidate. How do you handle such a thing?
Yeah, the thing is that operated on our mind when we were drafting Section 87, and that is why, you see, under the extant law, that may be possible, because the word of the extant law is that the primary may be monitored by INEC. We have changed it to shall be monitored by INEC. Any political party that tries to change that procedure, even if it is my own political party, will have to bear the brunt of the law. In fact, specifically, I think subsection 4 or 5 stated that INEC shall deploy its officers to monitor at every center. We are aware when you are making law, there is what is called mischief rule in being able to make law. We knew the mischief that could be done and that might have been done under the existing law. I'm not saying in any way that there's anything wrong with the primary of my party in Anambra, but we have strengthened provision to ensure that INEC indeed monitor, not only that they should monitor, but a duty is expressly placed on the monitor. The implication of this is that any primary not so monitored by INEC will be null and void and will have no effect.
I want to thank you, distinguished Senator Ajibola Bashir, Osun Central Senatorial District. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for your time. We are grateful.
Used to be the Attorney General of the state under Governor Raouf Aregbesola, the brilliant lawyer at that.
That's our friend. He speaks excellently at all times. He's always ready. He used to be an aluta.
Yes, Senator.
Back in the Unilag.
Yes, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Still Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. From politics, let's take you to Kaduna now. The more they succeeded in their dastardly acts, the more audacious they become. After storming the St. Albert's, the Great Institute of Philosophy, a seminary run by the Catholic Church in Fayette community in Kaduna State, the bandits are demanding 50 million naira ransom for the release of 3 students kidnapped there. In a relatively cheering development, more than 90 kidnapped students and members of staff of the Federal Government College, Yari in Kebbi State, have reportedly been released. This is after spending 4 months in captivity. Jide,
as at this afternoon,
torturous.
That issue, there had not been some finality to that issue. It was said that Dogogide, one of the most powerful bandits in Nigeria, contacted one of the parents and said, see, I'll release your children they're on their way to Bringing Kebbi. So I think the particular parents contacted some people, and it became something for the social media to feast on. Now, I've made repeated calls since this happened, because when they were kidnapped back then, I remember I was among the first to get the story when they were kidnapped more than 100 days ago. Now, all of the people that I've called, they've said, including parents, you know, they are saying, no, they've not seen their children. They are not aware that they've gone to government house, and at government house, government is saying, look, they have no information. They too saw it on social media. So it's particularly depressing to hear what appears to be good news, and what we are hearing now suggests that it is not exactly true that these children have been released. Maybe after some hours we'll hear that they've sewn clothes for them, they've cleaned them up, they've taken them to hospital to run some tests on them. But if parents, anxious parents, are returning from government house to say that government officials are saying they know nothing about this.
That's curious. One is really
worried. Even the Emirate Council, they are saying that they are not aware of this release.
These bandits are running riots, you know, but they are used to calling, you know, almost impossible amount of, I don't know how many students they kidnapped.
Just three.
They are calling 50 million.
50 million. I mean, if the parents of those children had 50 million, would they be schooling in Nigeria? I mean, you see, it's unfortunate. We talk about bombing of bandits' hideouts. We talk about arrests, and these people just appear to be having a good time. You know, and Kaduna remains a sore thumb. Kaduna is sticking out as a sore thumb. I think that somewhere where, you know, Attorney General Malami should think of, you know, recommending a state of emergency. Because over there, I mean, it is clear that the security situation has gone so bad, that security has broken down in Kaduna. Because the ease with which these criminals, you know, operate, they were set to have operated in school for 1 hour. The ease with which they operate, I mean, shows that they are always confident that, well, nothing will happen. And, okay, eventually they were repelled by vigilantes, but the vigilantes could not get the 3 students. What you now saw in the police statement was that the 3 kidnappers were stragglers who were hanging around the dining hall. I mean, you say stragglers.
But they are students now.
Were they looking for remnants, you know, of food, or were they scavengers? Were they scavenging the dustbins or so? What you call this? These are duly registered students of a school. So even if they were sleeping, you know, or they were, I mean, under a tree reading their books, the school had the responsibility to ensure their security. So definitely, you see, Kaduna State has become a huge problem. There's still a problem in Zamfara State. Zamfara is still a major problem in terms of security. But Kaduna shows that, you know, this even with the shutdown of telecommunication services, it has not had any effect. So this issue must be dealt with at the highest level of security in this country. The commander-in-chief has to do something. He has to do something drastic about Kaduna.
So, we've lost counts because we don't even know the number of students in this same Kaduna State. They've released the exact number and the ones they are adopting on a daily basis. And this, the ones that they've spent over 100 days now. You can just imagine what this student would have gone through.
Oh, of course, and there are more than 90. And some of the staff of the school are still with them. Because
staff of the school?
Yes, they kidnapped the students and the staff. Some students escaped, you know. Sometimes you read lies. When students escape on their own, you then read that they were rescued. Absolute falsehood. Those boys managed to escape. In fact, there was one of them who escaped to the hometown of Brigadier Ayuba's hometown. You remember the former Minister of Communications, Tanko Ayuba. You know, the boy managed to escape to that town, and then from there it was helped. So we have not launched any military effort or military campaign to free them. So when you hear, oh, somebody freed, the boy managed to escape on his own. Because how do you set out to free just one person out of more than 90? Does it make any sense? Do people who peddle these lies even think at all? Look at the Bethel students from this same Kaduna, the Bethel Baptist students. The bandits have been releasing them in batches. Today they will release 10. Tomorrow they will release 5.
Have they been collecting ransom?
It's ransom.
Of course.
Once they pay, the people who are able to pay, they are the ones whose children are released. But some of those children also escaped, like the son of the CAN chairman in Kaduna, for example. That boy the son managed to escape from custody. But you go and read that he was rescued by who? Where? So how come he was rescued and you left the rest? Who does that? So these are not encouraging at all. It's painful to be reading about this thing. The emir of Bungudu in Zamfara State, who is still in custody. You are kidnapping a first class. You are kidnapping a first class traditional ruler. He's still in custody. They killed the father of the speaker of Zamfara. After having stayed with them for a long time, they ended up killing the man. So these bandits don't deserve to live. The way we advised that we should crush them, that advice has not been taken. We are hunting them piecemeal, and that's why we are not making the right progress. They leave Zamfara, go into Sokoto, and start killing people in Sabombrini in Sokoto State. That's what we are seeing. They even had the audacity to go and take on the military in Sabombrini and kill our soldiers. So, if we know that this is a big problem, let's face them squarely and then block every point through which they can escape and have a simultaneous military operation that will ensure that they don't escape. But we are not doing that.
Okay, I have a caller. Case Handle is calling us from Imo State.
Uncle, I agree to you. Good evening, family.
Good evening, my brother.
Good evening. Thank you for the wonderful insights you're doing. God bless you. We can't stop listening to journalists Hangout. You see, the truth about this whole insecurity situation is that it's becoming so embarrassing to us Nigerians. And I can tell you that there are thousands of these kidnappings that are not reported. That's just the truth.
Yes.
There are thousands of them that are not reported. But the few that are being reported, people are just treating the kids low. Look at the children will escape by itself. These people will come and tell us they escape. How can one person be rescued from out of almost 100 persons? These are falsehood. We can't continue like. My point is simple. See, it is high time our government took drastic response and measures towards this whole thing. For me, I don't think these bandits are greater than Nigeria. I don't think they are greater than our military. What is actually holding us from facing this thing squarely by hitting these people? And what thing we must do, Babajide, can't we get intelligence to bring out these people that are sponsoring these bandits in Nigeria? How are they getting arms to this country? How are they getting money? How are they getting food items? We can't continue like this. If you go into part of that Kaduna, people are even...
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you.
It's true. We can't continue like this.
We can't continue like
of course,
this.
we can't
continue like this.
We can't because what it means is that we've allowed a bunch of criminals, terrorists, clearly, to just hold us ransom. But again, there should be, you see, the other day, Lai Mohammed was saying that government has not, treated bandits, less harshly than separatist agitators. But you ask yourself a question. The response to attacks on soldiers and killing of soldiers, like what happened in Izombe in Imo State some days ago. Why don't you have such proportional reaction in areas in the north? Why, when soldiers are attacked or killed, why don't you have, in Zombe, you have three tanks and different military vehicles, soldiers. I mean, when destroyed over 70 houses. Why isn't that same proportional force applied when these things happen in the north?
Even against the bandits. Against the bandits, you know, I've talked about the fact that bandits killed 18 soldiers in one day.
Can you imagine?
In one local government in Katsina. There was no revenge. No revenge. At least there's no revenge that I know.
Those are human lives.
So there has to be that self-same response.
Yes.
Every time our soldier gets killed by bandits, they must be made to regret it.
Yes.
But we read the report, soldiers, 20 soldiers killed here. We don't see any response.
Nothing.
We don't see any response. So why won't they do it again? Why won't they do it again?
You have to live there. Thank you, Emeka Maduna.
Thank you very
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very
and Babajide Kolade Otitoju, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you. And that's our tip today. Just join us 11 o'clock tonight for the repeat broadcast of this episode. So don't forget to join Journalist Hangout on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuwakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.